The topic is hydrosphere. In simple terms, hydro means water, that we are all aware of. So I'm now teaching you about introduction of hydrosphere. Okay. What exactly is hydrosphere? Hydrosphere contains oceans, seas, glaciers. Anything that contains water is hydrosphere. Lakes, ponds, groundwater, rivers, streams. So these are all combinedly called hydrosphere. Wherever we see water, it comes under hydrosphere. So about this, we all are aware of Earth contains 71% of water. We all know that. Because of this, Earth is also called blue planet. Almost 3/4 of Earth's surface is covered with water. So if we look at Earth from the sky, it is in blue color because of the presence of this water. Okay. And then if out of 100%, if we take out this 71%, 29% of it is land. So if we compare the land surface with water surface, almost it comprises of only 1/4 of the total surface area. 71% of it is water, just 1/4 of it is that means 29%, to be more precise, is land cover. So what is the significance of the 71% of the water? Okay, we know that 71% of Earth's surface is water. So I can say that if I calculate the volume of water, 71% of area is occupied by water. And if I have to talk about the volume of water, so if we talk about water, we don't generally measure it in areas, right? It has to be volume. How much amount of volume of water? That means in general we measure it in cubic meters or cubic centimeters. But here, as the volume of water is so high, that we are going to measure it in cubic kilometers. So how many cubic kilometers of water is available on the Earth's surface? It is 13.67 billion cubic kilometers of water is present inside the Earth. I mean, it is present on the Earth. So if we talk about this 13.67 billion kilometer cube of water, so how it will be distributed? And let's say this is the entire surface of the Earth, starting here from here. So 29% of this is land, complete land, and the remaining 71% of it is water. So this water, the volume of this water is 13.67 billion cubic kilometers. So if I spread this 13.67 billion cubic kilometers of water on the surface of the Earth, and the entire surface of the Earth, it will be like this thick. Entire surface of the Earth has been covered with water, and the depth of this would be 3.65 kilometers. 3.25 kilometers, I'm sorry. 3.25 kilometers of this of its depth, and the entire surface of the area would be the water. If we spread the amount of water that is present in the on the earth, and we put it on the surface of the earth, starting from land to water, then it will be 3.25 kilometers of depth. So the next thing is hydrological cycle. So initially what we have learned is, so what is hydrosphere and what comprises of hydrosphere, how much percentage of water is available on the earth's surface. So if we convert this into volume, then how much of volume of water is there on the earth's surface, and then what if we spread all the water that is there on the surface of the earth and spread it across the surface of the earth, then how much depth will be the water. Then will be 3.25 kilometers of depth will be there. And then hydrological cycle. Now, so what is hydrological cycle? Hydro means we all know it's also about water. So hydrological cycle means, so we know that this is land and this is water, right? Majority of it is of oceans, so I'm gonna write this as oceans and seas. Okay. Hydrological cycle means completion. If we start at this point and it has to meet at this point, so where we have started, there only we have to finish. That is called cycle. So we have started at some point and we have traveled, and the finish point has to be the same as the starting point. So this is cycle. So what is hydrological cycle? It is nothing but water cycle. So what is happening to water in here? We all know that water enters into the air in the form of evaporation, in the process called evaporation. So through evaporation, water enters into the air, and there it gets condensed and becomes clouds. So what happens? It gets condensed and becomes clouds, and then these clouds, some of it, not a single cloud will be there, right? There will be different clouds, and few of these clouds enters into the land surface due to the presence of wind. Wind is going to blow these clouds into the land surface, onto the land. So what happens after this? These clouds starts precipitate, right? These clouds starts precipitate. That means they're going to rain down. Okay. So what happens in here? If the evaporation and precipitation happens on the same level, then the water that has been evaporated will be equal to water that has been precipitated. So if it lies above the same area, what if due to the presence of this wind, some of the clouds enters into the land and they are going to precipitate there? What happens there? All of this water that has been precipitated that either can be absorbed into the land surface by the presence of plants. Plants are going to absorb this water, and some of the water enters into the deeper depths, and they are going to be filtered by the presence of small stones, sand. These acts as filters, and it will be stored in the deeper depths, and then the remaining water will be flown into the ocean through rivers. All of this remaining water will be flown into the ocean through rivers. And what happens when trees absorb water? Trees are going to absorb water, right? I've told you here. What happens if trees are going to absorb water? Let's consider this as a leaf. Through the process of transpiration, water is going to be evaporated. It's not evaporation, it's transpiration. Water is going to be entered into the atmosphere through the leaves by a process called transpiration. So this will go up and it will be condensed, and the formation of clouds will take place. And by this drifting of clouds by wind, these clouds can enter into the oceanic surface, and it's going to be precipitated in here. Or else these clouds, if there is no action of wind, then in the land itself it is going to be precipitated, and some of it may be absorbed by other plants, and some of it may be entered into the oceans through rivers. This can be entered into the oceans. So this entire cycle of where it has started from the evaporation on the oceanic surface and the formation of clouds and precipitation on the oceanic surface, and also due to the wind factor it has been moved into the land surface and it has precipitated in here, and through the action of rivers it has again entered into the ocean. And another thing, some of the water will be absorbed by the trees, and through the process of transpiration it is going to again enter into the atmosphere, and through the concept of precipitation it is again entered into the ocean if there is wind factor that moves the clouds into the surface of the ocean. And if that doesn't happen, then these clouds might precipitate in here, and through rivers they can be again entered into the ocean. So it has all started in the ocean and entered into the land and again entered into the ocean. This process is called hydrological cycle. So this is a never ending cycle. So we can say that the amount of water that is present in the atmosphere on the earth's surface is constant. No matter what happens, the amount of water that is present on the earth's surface is constant. It is not going to change. So what has been happening? From ocean it has entered into atmosphere, and from atmosphere some of it has been entered into the land, and from land it has entered into the ocean again. This is called hydrological cycle. So why I have written this instead of this? Why I have written this? Ocean to land, land to ocean. But here I have added atmosphere in here, because land is nothing but Lithosphere. Ocean is nothing but hydrosphere. Atmosphere, we all know it's atmosphere. So we all know that the combination of hydrosphere, lithosphere and atmosphere is nothing but biosphere. This is where life exists. So in the hydrological cycle, water has been transferred from hydrosphere to atmosphere and then to lithosphere and then to hydrosphere. So in this cycle, all the three essential spheres that are required for life has been involved in here. So hydrological cycle is nothing but the transmission of water from hydrosphere to atmosphere and then to lithosphere and then back again to hydrosphere is called hydrological cycle. And then the next topic is oceans of world. The has should be involved because of the superlative degree. And then if you look at this in the introduction itself, we know that 71% of the Earth's area is water. So that's the first point we have to write. 71% is water. Second thing we know about this is 97% of this is 71% of water is salt water. So that means majority of it is covered by oceans, seas. So we are going to talk about oceans. What are the oceans that are present on the Earth's surface? We know that there are 5 oceans that are present. First one is in the descending order. In the descending order of area, I'm writing this. We all know about the Pacific Ocean. The surface area of this Pacific Ocean is 165 million square kilometers. Second largest ocean is Atlantic Ocean. It is nearly half of the Pacific Ocean, which is nearly 82 million square kilometers. And the third important ocean is the Indian Ocean. Before all of the oceans, we have to write the, because of the superlative, they are oceans, right? So 71 million square kilometers. Fourth one is Southern Ocean, which is also called Antarctic Ocean. Fifth one is Arctic Ocean, which is a 14 million square kilometers. So these are the different types of oceans that are present on the Earth's surface. And then I have explained you how water has been evaporated and how clouds are formed and how these clouds are blown onto the Earth's surface by winds, and then they are going to be precipitated in here, and through the action of rivers it will be re-entered into the ocean. We all know about this, but what percentage of this will happen? What percentage? I can say that evaporation on the oceanic surface is about 84%. Out of the total water that has been evaporated on the Earth's surface, 84% of it occurs on the surface of the oceans. Only evaporation percentage of land surface is only 16%. In this 16%, along with evaporation, there will be transpiration also. We all know transpiration is nothing but leaves. From the leaves, water is getting into the atmosphere. That is called transpiration. So 84% of it is being evaporated from the oceanic surface, and 16% of water is being evaporated into the atmosphere from the land. So out of this 84%, so we all know clouds will be formed, right? 77% of it is coming back into the oceanic surface through precipitation. So precipitation percentage is 77%. But what is happening to the remaining 7% of the evaporated water? Why didn't it precipitate on the oceans? What happens is, we all know that due to the action of winds, it is going to be transported to the earth's surface. These clouds. So 7% of these will be precipitated in here. What happens? 16% of it is already there. Along with this 16%, 7%. Now, total of 23% of precipitation is being happening on the land surface. Only 77% of the precipitation is being happened on the oceanic surface. So out of this 23%, we all know that by the action of rivers or streams, 7% of it is again enters into the oceans. So what happens to that remaining 16%? It is being stored as groundwater. It is going to fill the lakes. It is going to be absorbed by water, by plants. We can say stored at deeper depths. By the action, by percolation through seeps. What is percolates means? Process of filtering. Seeps, leaking. So whenever a plant requires water during dry season, this water will be absorbed by tree and it is going to be transpired. At this point of time, the water that has been stored at the deeper depths, it is going to be seeped and will be utilized by this tree. Okay, so this is what happens